Hey there, how's it going? What is up, everybody? Irish Orangutan is back to pass along what you need to know to get better at Madden and grow your Mutt team. Enjoy the show. Today we are back to talk about the best team no money can buy. Just a little bit of an update on what I've been able to do, no money spent. Do have a little more coin and some investments right now that I'm looking to sell off, so should be building that back up. Usually can clear around 700,000 coins a week. Maybe not going to be quite that much without solo battles or weekend league this week, but definitely a good opportunity to be able to build up your team and have a team that can compete with the best. You just have to be able to scheme up around them a little bit. And today, just gonna kind of talk about that and kind of what I've been able to do recently. The theme diamonds coming out. You do have the opportunity to go and get 90 overalls pretty much at every position. They are very, very expensive, so from a no money spent perspective, you definitely want to be choosy with those. I did kind of go through what you could potentially do with those players and how to acquire them less expensively. Some of them is just waiting on some of those gold pieces and potentially acquiring some other cards through other means, potentially not going through those sets. But getting things kicked off, we have Patrick Mahomes still at our starting quarterback. Love the way that he plays. Steve Young has came out. Not a fan of playing with a left-handed quarterback, so probably going to stick with Mahomes. If a Vic does come out, I potentially would try with him because I can see what Steve Young already is able to do with his speed on the field and with your ability to just click left trigger and then sprint in some of those passing formations. It is a little bit devastating and something I'm going to try a little bit with Mahomes as well. At running back, still have Marcus Allen. He's probably going to be on my team for an extended period of time. Wish he was in his Chiefs uniform because he is devastating. Remembering that Super Bowl with the Redskins. I was not alive for that, but have seen just that clip of him twisting around in the backfield and then sprinting towards the end zone from 50 yards away. Just a little bit scary, but there are some moments that I do remember of Clinton Portis doing that, and very excited I was able to get him on my team. If you were not aware, the Redskins were a very, very expensive set to complete, so I'm probably not actually going to complete the theme diamond set there. If I would have been able to not be on work on Friday and go through some of those sets and make some of them when they were a little bit more profitable, potentially flipping some of those cards and getting some of those other cards back would have done that. But at this point, everyone kind of understands where the market is, and the cards have pretty much have their prices set, so I just have been acquiring them in that route. Just by picking up their power-ups at this point, potentially using power-up passes, and we'll get to him in a second. And I did go through and play those challenges slash solos for those theme diamond players, and through those you get 84 plus overall players, and Todd Gurley was actually the player that I did get through that. He is definitely the third, potentially fourth running back on my list. I really like what Jim Brown can do. Don't have him as one of my special players, so he is not able to use that armbar quite as devastatingly as he potentially could, but really like what Gurley could potentially do. I looked at him a little more closely. He's definitely not going to be someone who could be a third down back. Marcus Allen and Clinton Portis block much better than him, and actually both have better hands, so he's just going to be coming in certain situations where he potentially could run the ball because he does have the opportunity to be just as good, if not better, in certain situations for that, just not necessarily to run over people, but I'm going to try to continue to run the ball, and when I'm going over my offensive line, we'll describe that a little bit more. But very excited. At least one of the jerseys did get switched up on my team. Odell, I did have on my team and got him that through the original solos for them. So that was very exciting. I was able to get him, and he switched from a Giant to a Brown uniform. Got the baseball cap. If you go into seasons, and I've been playing the head-to-head for just the college rules, you can see that they switched up a couple of his photos to him having him have a hat on, and that one did have him as a Brown, but just slightly different picture. Michael Thomas moved down to fourth or fifth wide receiver, not going to be playing a lot. Do have Tyreek Hill over here, and Torrey Holt am progressing through the levels kind of slowly, but definitely got to get to 50 way before it will be necessary. I have passed through some of those solos, through the Baker Mayfield solos, but really don't want to just sit in them and do that for all the time that I do have to play this game. So have been going through and just been playing challenges and playing the head-to-head, and not acquiring my MUT level quite as quickly as I have in the past, but definitely going to get there when I need to, or quicker than what is necessary anyway. And then we do have this Andre Reed as well. He did play very, very briefly for Washington, so we can put him on the theme team. He does look pretty nice coming out, to be perfectly honest. Do have one more upgrade for him, but that'll cost around 100,000 coins with training at this point. I did pick up his card. I believe it was 86 overall. It was a little bit overpriced, but all the power-ups that I picked up were a little bit overpriced, to be honest. Clinton Portis's was just under 90,000 coins, so that did hurt my coin stack a little bit as well, but made some upgrades and players that I really wanted on my team and will be necessary for my theme team moving forward. But all my wide receivers are very solid, pretty much can all do the same things. Odell is one of those players that I do have over here with the superstar X Factor abilities. Really love throwing streaks and crossers to him. He is absolutely devastating. Torrey Holt's going to be someone that I'm going to be putting in the slot and making him even better at that. Andre Reed I actually thought was a slot as well. I must have been mistaken about that, but he does have the ability to go out and get some of those slot abilities. Tyreek Hill, just a burner, so all those guys are able to go out and do tremendous things, and I really like what they're able to do. With this, Kittle did get him upgraded one more time. Have not played through those solos. That would definitely help with my MUT level as well, but just been flipping cards, so have been acquiring training at certain times, so just had some extra and made the poor choice of just powering him up instead of going through those theme builder challenges, or those are actually solos. No, they are challenges, excuse me, they do go for stars. And Delaney Walker out of a level pack. Love the way that he plays. He has just enough speed, one of the best run blockers in the game. Not someone you can use necessarily in the red zone. And didn't go over my fullbacks, but they kind of fit in with the tight ends. Trey Burton, talked about him. He's one of the best budget tight ends. He potentially could be my second tight end. Use check, I do have slotted in here. I think I did get rid of a card. Nope, I have not. He's still sitting there at his 83 overall. I don't really know where I can potentially fit him in. Potentially at a power back and then get him in, but I'm in at the 55 players at this point. And then I have Jordan Reed for the red zone. He has tremendous catching. Just got the card, to be perfectly honest. Could put him in as one of my superstar players and work with him a little bit. I'm going to be playing a little bit more of the house rules, so gonna have a good time with that potentially. But not good enough to be a blocker. Can lead block pretty well, but would rather have these three being. I flipped over to the dark side a little bit on my offensive line, and I'm a little bit disappointed that I actually acquired Larry Allen and have him sitting there. As you can see, some of the power-ups that I had partially powered up, and as we go through the rest of my lineup, you'll notice that. I kind of gotten rid of some of my poor decisions as I started throughout the year. I said don't power up these players the way that I'm doing it with a Deerdorf, and then Alex Mack as well. Mack was someone I thought I potentially could keep, but with this Sullivan coming out and Mack being very, very poor at being able to protect the quarterback, have kind of moved on from him, and Deerdorf have gotten people in their proper positions. Bruce Matthews and Larry Allen I got for around 40 training, so got them definitely at least undervalued for where they are most of the time. These legends will be inexpensive on Legends Saturday, so it is just a tremendous idea to go out and nab a couple of them. Even if you don't get the upper echelon pieces, I had the 88 Bruce Matthews previously and just went out and got his better card and dealt with his lower card after that. The main reason that I have these guys and have been focusing on my offensive line is just had some struggles running the ball with Sheriff and Johnson as my guards. I really thought that. Actually, I had Bruce Matthews at 88 and Lane Johnson as my guards. Just really thought that I needed an upgrade from that. They were able to pull and do things like that, but they weren't just able to win at the point of contact and then move up to the next level. And I've really noticed that with their higher awareness and ability to just play in position, they're doing a much better job of just getting to the next level, blocking the actual person they need to in zone runs, doing the double teams that they need to. So investing in your offensive line, at least in the run game, can be a huge help. Trent Williams, still one of the best left tackles in the game, was comparing him to Jordan Gross. Really comparable, him being for Washington, at least for now, hopefully forever. He's going to be someone that fits out there. Lane Johnson, just an absolutely dynamic, athletic player. Sadly, he is an Eagle, but he's going to be on the team for the time being and for quite some time. Check didn't talk about him very much, just a little bit quicker and can work out on those pitches. So just talking about the run game a little bit there to finish up the offense. And thankfully, I think we can just switch straight over to the defense and all the players will load. Thankfully, they did. Okay, a couple other halfway poor decisions, but I think good decisions. We're going and getting some of these theme kings. No, yeah, theme kings. Pretty sure. They're just naming everything with theme to start off the beginning of the year because everyone likes having their theme team, so it gets a little bit confusing. But Adrian Amos over here at strong safety, really love the way that he plays in the box as well, but just wanted that speed back there a little bit more. Mel Blount could do a tremendous job, but I actually have moved him into the slot, and he's been doing some really, really nice things up front, so can kind of fit with that. And now that I have this Adrian Amos back there, I went out and looked at what Jamal Adams potentially could be going for and got him very inexpensively as well. So that was very exciting to be able to go out and acquire him, one of the best strong safeties. Again, I'm trying to do a better job of not powering up every player that I do acquire so they can be sold off for a little bit more. But Derwin, sadly with his injury, I thought he was going to be someone that I could use for the rest of the year, especially with his height. Hopefully he does get some of those upgrades as he comes back later on in the year. But at safeties, I'm just playing 4 strong safeties and then actually have Patrick Tillman, who's slowly progressing pretty well. A little bit further back, but he will be coming up very shortly as well and probably be taking Derwin's spot, as I think he's about the same speed at this point in time. Hopefully next week we'll have Torrey Holt, and or the next time that we give an update on this, we'll have Torrey Holt and Tillman to the point where they can be the studs in the lineup. Holt is kind of second or third wide receiver and definitely starting to show out a little bit more. But very excited about those guys who I have to have on my team, or are on my team. Don't necessarily have to. I could just keep them on the bench. But we'll be progressing and doing a tremendous job there. At left outside linebacker, I have Kerrigan, so I shouldn't have invested really anything else there. But I actually have another left outside linebacker playing middle linebacker and Anthony Barr. When I go into the 3-4, I really like what they're able to do kind of with this lineup, bringing pressure with Taylor and Danielle Hunter. I really like this Hunter card. As you can see, he goes back to standing up and rushing and doing a tremendous job at that. Really, if you don't have those defensive linemen with the specialty abilities, they're just kind of filling gaps, and Hunter does a tremendous job of that. Also, you can put him in a QB spy or drop him back in a zone or user him, and he actually does a really good job of that. Coming from the defensive end position, you can move him into defensive tackle in certain situations, use him as a QB spy, and just kind of throw off the person you are playing. Again, that is just for people who are trying to pass the ball against you. But just going down, the rest of the middle linebackers are just kind of filling out the roster. Have looked at the middle linebackers and continue to do so. Deion Jones would be a tremendous fit. Haven't seen him underpriced, so we'll just continue to wait on that as well. Lawrence Taylor, the absolute best card in the game. in my opinion. He is someone that I'm going to continue to upgrade. Probably could put an X Factor ability on him just to see what else scary things he could potentially do, and put another move Joy Bosa around is the reason he's not activated. But just and I actually kind of want to test out Gilmore and see. Sorry, got a little bit ahead of myself. I should have had that superstar X Factor ability already there. But going to continue to put Lawrence Taylor there as he's never going to come off of that list. Montez Sweat backup. He's a tremendous user as well, to be perfectly honest. 6'6", 82 speed. Fits in with the Redskins theme team. So just very solid there. Ken Houston could play any position in the defensive backfield and be near the best at it. He doesn't have perfect man coverage, but he is very, very good everywhere else. And as you were seeing earlier, obviously in the lineup, and as you saw me put Stephon Gilmore into this X Factor slot, he is someone that I was able to acquire Nat. I don't want to say blessed, but I feel very lucky that I was able to get Stephon Gilmore and Odell Beckham Jr. If I would have gotten Mahomes, I would have sold off my other Mahomes and had some coin to do some other things in other spots. But with this Gilmore and OBJ, they're both players that I maybe wouldn't have went out and gotten, but now that I have them on my team, I can see how devastatingly good they actually are in certain situations. They don't have the absolute upper echelon speed, but they have the actual ability to play in real life and on the back of their card. And when you put these superstar abilities on them, it makes them even better. I don't think we'll be able to see those three here. Maybe if we look at compare. Instead of, yeah, then we can look at the back of his card instead of just, excuse me, one too far, just looking at him in the regular lineup. His X Factor is shut down, tip drill, he has the man up, and then pick artist as well. So I have played against him. You can throw away from him, which is what I ended up doing. But the other line, or excuse me, the cornerbacks that they did have weren't necessarily a lot more and Patrick Peterson. So some kind of scary things happen in that regard. If people are passing the ball more on me, to be perfectly honest, I'm probably going to put Mel Blount back here and have Adrian Amos be my second not rush linebacker, but sub linebacker for nickel and dime, and then have Lattimore and Peterson be the outside corners and have Gilmore be that slot guy and do my best to shut him down. But with the moving of Gilmore to one of my superstar X Factors, that does not allow me to get my third lineman in Bosa all the way maxed out, which does bother me a little bit, but that just means DeMarcus Lawrence and Lawrence Taylor need to be working a little bit harder to get things knocked out. And if we are able to do that with them, it can get kind of scary with what you can do with the defensive backfield. I know what you can do with three rushers. I'm excited to see what I can do with two and potentially having two QB spies, and then incrementally just kind of pushing the button to have the linebackers rush at them and just work with that over time. And I think that can be something that can really help out my defense and really confuse people. I'm rushing three, dropping a QB spy pretty frequently at this point. That's what I was talking about. Hunter Garrett's another good option for that. Anthony Barr is perfect for that. So just some things I've been doing with this front. But moving to the defensive line, looking at Myles Garrett, we can look at the back of his card. He was another one of those guys that I got fully upgraded. His strength, power moves are going to make him a devastating right end. I think he's going to be a much better right end than Aaron Donald throughout the year. Aaron Donald, obviously, I don't know if obviously, but I think he is at least a half step above what Myles Garrett can do. Garrett has a little bit of athleticism in some regards, but Aaron Donald is just so strong and compact. He can do so many scary things that just does not translate to Madden. I think Garrett is the move, and I'm happy with the players that I have powered up at this point. Did lose John Randall on the defensive line. Did not think that his card was worth it when I can get some halfway decent production out of Joey Bosa in a similar regard rushing. Bosa, honestly, I think is getting more sacks, at least in most regards, than DeMarcus Lawrence. I think a lot more people are putting juiced up things at their offensive tackles to try to shut down Lawrence Taylor, DeMarcus Lawrence, Reggie White, Strahan, and even Joey Bosa because most people have him rushing from the end position. But if you're able to get that Randall and get the limited time version of him, get him all the way up to 92, I think he can be one of the best players in the game. He's just a little bit slow, and with Steve Young being able to sprint like that, just moving and keeping my rushers on the outside is something that I think I'm going to have to do. Potentially moving Lawrence inside, rushing him there, and having Lawrence Taylor on the outside, but they do both have that edge rush elite, so that is something that I am considering, but one of many as I've been rambling for some time. But this defensive tackle and Kenny Clark is just here to shut down the run. Got him for a very reasonable price, 90 strength, 86 block shed. His whole deal is just coming in 3-4 situations and shutting down the middle. And then having Myles Garrett and DeMarcus Lawrence outside of him and LT and Shazier on the backside just makes that absolutely devastating. Special teams, nothing to clamor about. Antoine Randall L was another one of those power-ups that I did acquire, and he's just back there to make sure we don't fumble kicks and punts. But yeah, this is what we have and what you can definitely do. No money spent if you're willing to work at it. I'll continue to give you the keys and show you what you can do. You just kind of have to take the car and drive yourself. I wish you all the best and hope your team is looking the same as mine. Take care. Thank you for checking into the Irish Orangutan channel. Keep coming back for more Madden knowledge. There will be consistent videos up every week, so make sure to subscribe and hit the bell button to see them all. Come by Twitch to engage and hit me up on Twitter at Irish Orangutan. Take care and much love, everybody.